The Champions League returns, and I'm excited. You all know how I feel about the Champions League, the highest level of club football. PSG will take on Bayern Munich at the Parc des Princes. You don't want to miss that because indeed this is the final before the final. And I meant that respectfully to Atletico Madrid and Arsenal fans. But the rest of the football world will agree with me. This is the final of the final. But history favors Bayern Munich because the last 5 meetings, Bayern Munich won all 5 of them. Yes, yes, including one this year where they went to Parc des Princes and they had a 2-1 victory against Paris Saint-Germain. Now, Baruch said at that time PSG had a lot of injuries. And besides, the way they played in the second half in that game, they showed that they have enough to take on Bayern Munich. And I'm paraphrasing all of that. But that is what I like about the Champions League. And that is what I like. I like when players and coaches go out there and say things respectfully, but they're spicing things up ahead of the clash. Because company also said, hey, we have gone to the Santiago Bernabeu and defeated Real Madrid. And we've also gone to Parc des Princes and had that 2-1 victory. So if there's any team that can take down the defending champions, PSG, he said it is us, Bayern Munich. I love it. I love it. So now, these are the things that are going to set up the stage for the competition to be very, very much intense. So here is what we're looking at. Talking about injuries back then, I'm talking about PSG. Now they're only missing one player, and that is Quinton Johnson. It's not so much of a big miss when you compare that to Bayern Munich, who are missing Leonard Cole, Serge Gnabry, and Rafael Guerrero. But it is what it is. I do believe personally that both teams have enough, more than what it takes, to give us the entire competition at this level. Now, I'm looking at a 4-3-3 for PSG. I don't think that is going to change, right? Because they are more fluid playing in that 4-3. So I'm looking at Safonov in goal, right back Hakimi, left back Nuno Mendes, center back pair of Pacho and Marquinhos, and then you go to that midfield. It's going to be Zaire Emery, Vitinha, and Joao Neves. And of course, you have Desiree Doué, Ousmane Dembele, and Kelly. For Bayern Munich, 4-2-3-1. Manu Noah, obviously, in goal at right back. Stanisic at left back. Conor Lima, center back pair of Upamecano, Keno, and Jonathan Tah, double pivot of Joshua Kimmich and Alexander Pavlovic. And then you have Jamal Musiala playing behind Harry Kane, and then flanked by Luis Diaz and Luis. Now, this is beautiful, and I can't wait. I can't really wait. So this is 4-3-3 versus 4-2-3-1, right? Tactically, both teams love control. Both teams like to control the game, the tempo, the flow of the game. Just that they do it differently. For PSG, we know Luis Enrique likes possession. He likes possession. For Bayern Munich, it is that high line so they can be as aggressive as possible. Not the high line that is reckless as the Barcelona's high line. That is not what I'm talking about. Okay, because our cousins, they will just go all the way up. But Bayern Munich plays that high line a little bit more responsible than FC Barcelona. And again, the goal of the high line is make the pitch smaller for your opponent, right? I don't know if that is going to be a good approach for Bayern Munich because when you look at our PSG team, they have a lot of players that are press resistant, right? Vitinha, Joao Neves, Zaire Emery, in fact, all of them, but especially Vitinha. He is press resistant. His composure is very good on the ball. And what happens is this. He joins the center back. So he slides in between Pacho and Marquinhos. So like forming a 3 center back, allowing his fullbacks, Hakimi or Nuno Mendes on the left to perhaps get into the inside part of the midfield. Now what happens is this. He does that because, like I said, he is press resistant. He is much more comfortable. So he can get on the ball, the center backs can spread, and then the fullbacks, if they got invited, now they're going to form at least 4 players in that midfield. Because Ousmane Dembele as a center forward is not your typical center forward, right? It's a false 9. So he's going to drop deep. Now you have either Hakimi or Nuno Mendes, and they have Zaire Emery and Joao Neves. So that is what they do. So for Bayern Munich, that aggressive highlight, right, trying to press PSG, if they suck you in, it is going to be a problem for Bayern Munich because what is going to happen is this. If Hakimi is forward and Kvaratskhelia is forward. So now they're having a 2v1 situation against corner line. And Vitinha can pass. Zaire Emery can pass. Raul Neves can pass, right? So same thing on this left-hand side, right? Nuno Mendes, Zedoe can create a 2v1 against Stanisic if they suck Ulisse into the press. So now that is a difficult thing to deal with. Plus, like I said, you have Ousmane Dembele. He's not starting. He's going to be moving all over the pitch. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult to play the high line and be very much aggressive against PSG. I don't know if a company will want to do that. And the thing also is this. Company is going to be in the stand. He's not going to be in the touchline, right? So in cases where you have to adjust ASAP to whatever Luis Enrique is cooking and you're not in the touchline, it makes it a lot more difficult, right? So the burden is going to be on Aaron Danks to make those adjustments for Bayern Munich to cope with whatever thing Luis Enrique is tweaking. So now, for Bayern Munich, though, we have to give them that credit, right? It's not just, like I said, a high line that is not controlled, right? Their aggression is very much controlled. And also, the thing that is different is not solely on possession because they can go back. They have the ability to do that. Their transition is very, very weak. Because Luis Enrique as well likes to press. Like I said, he wants the ball. So it's not a guy that will sit back and surrender possession to Bayern Munich. So in that case, Bayern Munich can also play. And the danger is going to be when those fullbacks, Hakimi, Nuno Mendes, when they go forward and PSG loses possession. Now that is where it becomes deadly as well because Bayern Munich is a transition team, right? They can combine that into their game. And if that happens, it is highly likely that Bayern Munich is going to score because the record shows that in this competition, they have done so at least 5 or 6 times already. So that is going to be a bigger threat for PSG. But having said that, though, I have to give PSG that credit because they are also allowing fewer shots on target. Now, the thing is this, though. When you have a player like Harry Kane, who is very clinical, you don't want to give him, a couple of chances because he's going to finish. He already has 12 goals. He's the Englishman with the most amount of goals in the Champions League already, and he's looking forward to extending that record, right? He's looking forward to extending that record. So now, you don't want to do that. Plus, again, this is a team, the Bayern Munich team. They have scored at least 2 goals in 11 out of their last 12 matches in the Champions League. That is ridiculous. So if you are PSG, you have to be very, very careful the way Hakimi and Nuno Mendes are going forward. Otherwise, it will be a problem. So Bayern Munich is not a squad, obviously. They have their own individual weapons. Luis Diaz, Jamal Musiala, and of course Ulisse, who has been playing at Ballon d'Or level alongside Harry Kane. And Harry Kane is a well-experienced center forward. But that center forward is not your traditional center forward, right? He's going to drop. So he's going to take the center backs away. He's going to drag them into the midfield area. So now, if you get lost, now it's a problem because Musiala, Serge Gnabry, Ulisse can just get in and take advantage of that space that the center backs are leaving right there. But with the experience of Marquinhos, maybe it might be better for PSG. And this is why this game is fascinating because the individual battle in the pitch, say Harry Kane versus Marquinhos and Pacho, right? And they're looking at Kvaratskhelia versus Konrad Laimer. You're also looking at Ulisse versus Nuno Mendes. And then you go to that midfield. Same thing. Vitinha is press resistant, but so too is Joshua Kimmich. So it's the similar pattern where Joshua Kimmich is going to step in between Jonathan Tah and Upamecano, the center back. Now, Pavlovic is going to be the extra guy in the midfield because remember they're playing the 4-2-3-1, right? So they'll have that extra player in the midfield. And also, you can recklessly press Joshua Kimmich. So, as much as you can really press Vitinha, it's the same thing with Joshua Kimmich, right? He's a deep line playmaker. He initiates that build-up play for Bayern Munich very deep. So again, I don't think it will be wise enough for both teams to just go at each other reckless. I'm talking about press because they're both good in terms of control, right? So you don't want to be reckless with your press. Now, it's going to be interesting, but here is my prediction. So with the way PSG is playing, with the way they are pressing, with a much more coordinated teamwork, I tell you what, it's going to be difficult for Bayern. And with a team that has lost 5 times to that Bayern Munich team, I think there are a lot to play for. And consider the fact that they're home, and this is Champions League. When you're home, you want to make it count. So I'm going to go for PSG for that reason. And also, there are personal records in line here. So for Luis Enrique, he will be the coach to get 50 wins, playing fewer amount of games in the Champions League. And that is going to be above Pep Guardiola. So that should mean something. So, those, I do believe those little intangibles can actually motivate a team to go on and give their best. So we'll see what happens. But like I always say, this is the Champions League. When the lights are bright, the stars should come out and shine. But the question is, which stars will shine brightest tomorrow? But we'll find out. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Until then, y'all stay blessed and peace out. We'll definitely be here to talk about the game, react, and do our post-match analysis. Until then, catch you later. Stay blessed.